Today is the first day of voluntary team workouts for the Carolina Panthers.
That's right.
Bold timing. The voluntary workouts are going to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Gosh, right in the middle of a series.
Right in the that's part. But also it's leading right to the NFL draft.
Yeah, I know. But we're in the series right now.
Well, for us, it just gives we're just overstimulated. We've got workouts, we've got the Canes, we got the draft, we got transfer portal, we got just all over the place.
Or maybe it's a thing of, hey, we have OTAs, voluntary workouts. All right, which one of y'all stinks so we know who to pick in the draft coming up this week?
I actually, here's what I think it is. I think the Panthers are trying to force themselves not to, I don't want to say overthink, but there is something about not changing too many opinions 2 days before the draft. Like, players can't do anything. You can't have visits anymore. You can't really talk to them. You can't work them out. Like, there's nothing tangible that happens between now and the draft. So other than rewatching a piece of film that you've probably watched a bunch of times, maybe there is like, you know what? Let's get all our current players in here so I can get distracted and pass the time quickly until the draft. Something to be said for that. We're looking at running back today, but first, Dave Canales said maybe the most likable thing that he's said since taking over. And that's acknowledging that he has said some awesome quotes. Do you have the one that I'm thinking of, Dennis? This is he said this on April 18th, this clip we're about to play for you. It's coming up soon. I see Dennis working hard back there. Should have given him a heads up. I got the nod, so we're getting close. Back on April 18th, Dave Canales said this.
I feel great about playing football right now.
I love that. But today he was asked about, and this is where like you need to have a head coach with perspective who doesn't take himself too seriously, who doesn't micromanage. He was asked about Deontay Johnson and Bryce Young and how they looked. What did they learn about the connection today during their voluntary team workout? And Dave Canales looked at him and said, nothing. They played catch. Maybe 5 or 6 throws. And it's a coach that gets it. So I'm not changing anything. We're going to talk about running backs here. We're going to talk about safeties tomorrow. I'm not changing anything based on reports out of these little mini camps, these little voluntary team workouts. I'll also say this. I believe the Panthers need running back help. But I also believe that I know and you know and they know you can't spend anything on running back. Luckily, they might not have to. Here's why. The Panthers are looking for value everywhere. Do they have Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders, Raheem Blackshear, and some names we know at running back? Absolutely. Are any of those guys their dude? Probably not. But it's not pressing. Why? Because they spent so much darn money on the offensive line that even if you have a running back that's not squeezing and getting all of the juice out of every run, you're still picking up yards, right? The Panthers should be one of the better teams in yards before contact, right? The running back should be past the line of scrimmage with how much they've spent on the offensive line before getting contacted most times. And Chuba Hubbard is good enough. Miles Sanders is good enough when healthy to take advantage of that. However, if the right opportunity arises, we have seen time and time again that you can find a dude like one of the real ones at running back late in the draft or even as an undrafted free agent. We've seen it plenty of times. So I do think the Panthers will take a deep dive into the running back waters in this draft class and see who they like, but they have to find the players they like. The way I describe it is late, right? Not just late. We're talking 6th or 7th round or undrafted free agent, and then bring them in. And here's where it's going to be a little different. Legitimately give them a shot. Right? Give them run in the preseason. Give them run in training camp and see if you find one. If you look around the NFL, good offenses have running backs that were found on the scrap heap. The Kansas City Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, 7th rounder, 2-time Super Bowl champ. Raheem Mostert with the Dolphins led the league in touchdowns last year, undrafted. Kyron Williams with the Rams, one of the pleasant surprises of last year, 5th rounder. Austin Eckler might be the patron saint of it. Now he's with Washington, but obviously had a great career with the Chargers, undrafted. Don't be afraid of a small school guy who's not getting the love because he doesn't run the 40-yard dash if he has that running back thing. Right? That running back thing of, wow, he hits the hole in the right spot. Right? His vision is instinctual every single time. That's what you're looking for. And here's the safety net. If you bring in 2 or 3 of those guys, none of them pop. None of them, you're right, the first 11 on 11s make you go, wow, this is going to work. You go back to Hubbard and Sanders, no harm, no foul. I'll use this as an example in my personal playing career. Played football at the University of Delaware. We had an All-American running back who ended up being 2nd in school history in rushing yards. Stud. Was the starting running back when we went to the national championship game. He was a freshman and ran for 1,600 or 1,700 yards. Really good player. He was also like a gray shirt. I don't know if everybody knows what a gray shirt is. It's when we don't have a scholarship for you in the fall, but we want you to come anyway, so why don't you just not go anywhere in the fall, and then we'll put you on scholarship in the spring once we have some graduations, and you can be there in spring ball. I remember being like 3 spring practices in, everyone's looking around going, I think this guy's going to be our starting running back.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, we had returning starters, we had accomplished players in our backfield, and no one really wanted to say it, but our eyes were all saying it. Yeah, pretty darn good. And he kind of came out of nowhere, right? Because if he accepts a gray shirt at Delaware, it's not like he was turning down ACC scholarship offers to come do that, right? It was very much a like where, how, but it was exactly what you're thinking, right? Probably 2 inches too short, probably 1/10 of a second on your 40 too slow, but he had that running back thing. He just never missed a read. His instinctual vision was unreal. There is, I'm not saying this guy, there is a NFL equivalent of that somewhere. And the Panthers should take a couple swings at it because it costs you nothing, right? Spend a little bit more on undrafted free agent running backs. A little bit more there is, what, $100,000? Like
maybe $50,000
across 3 or 4 of them.
Oh yeah,
like bring them in, see if you can't find one. There's very few positions where I think you could find a starter early in their career, and you can actually like have some form of realistic expectations of that being the case. Not in the first 3 rounds. If you're drafting a outside linebacker in the 6th and you're going, hopefully he's a starter in the next 18 months, I'm going to look at you and go, that's a long shot ticket, buddy. Real long.
Might be a good special teamer. Nothing wrong with that.
And you might strike gold. You might get lucky. With a running back, it's less of a long shot. So if you're the Panthers, you got to look for it because you need to mine value everywhere.